All right, welcome back, everybody. Anybody that's new here, thanks for joining me today. Obviously, title and description. This is all about my Curado DC. I used it for half of a season. I did kind of like a first impressions review, and I know a couple of you guys really wanted to know how I liked it because it's my first baitcaster in a long time, and second of all, a couple people were curious about the new Apex Elite that I have it on, and how I like what I used it for and like how it did for what I was using it for. So I'm going to go over a couple quick things, but those of you guys looking for like a newer person's review after using it for a while, I will link actually one of the best videos I think describes like how I used it, and like you guys will have to wait, but like at the end of this video, the best video I made last year, I'll put that at the end of this one, and you guys will see how it went. It was probably my fourth or fifth time out using it. I was already kind of getting the hang of it, but really I want to sit down and talk about this a little bit and basically give you my like actual overall impressions of how it is for somebody who's new again to the baitcasting world. So let's get started. Okay, so this is gonna have to be how I hold this. I didn't want to take it off this setup. All right, so this is my Curado DC. I have a left-hand return. It's also the XG, the 151 XG. So it is the higher gear ratio. I did that on purpose though, because one, I like the idea like of having a higher gear ratio with the option of slowing down instead of having something slow and not having the ability to speed up without like really reeling super quick. So that was the reason I went with the 151 off the bat. I've never used one of these before. This is my first official season using one, and I will tell you right now, I'm so happy I got it. It's one of those things where for years and years and years I was going to get one, and then I was like, no, because you don't know how to use a baitcaster real well. This is cheating. I'm going to tell anybody right now, if you're looking for a baitcaster, this is cheating. If you're trying to get really good at using a baitcaster, like a standard baitcaster with like where you dial out the tension for the weight of your lure and stuff like that, get yourself a cheap one. Get yourself something that's like a $50, $60, maybe $70 range cheap one. I don't know brands, but I do know there's much, much cheaper reels out there. I will link this one below, so if you guys want to get one, you can, but it's not cheap. Like I said before in the other videos, I didn't actually have to buy this one. My girlfriend was very nice to me. She bought it as a gift because I was telling her how I wanted to get a baitcasting rod, but I would like to get a decent baitcasting reel. And then she basically told me pick one out, and you don't tell me to do that. So the biggest thing that I was concerned with, like I said, was the simplicity of use. I wanted to be able to go out, toss it, and I wanted to put it on a rod from Tuned Up Customs. This is their Apex Elite. It is hold on. This room is really small. If you guys are new here, I've got cramped spaces and long rods in them. This one's the medium heavy, but it's a fast action. So it's a 7.2. It's got, it's 3/8 to 1 ounce baits. It says 12 to 20 pound line on it. This is, I forgot, it's like 30 pound braid. I went with a nice heavier braid. Everybody keeps telling me I should have like 60 pound braid on here. From what I understand, the thinner line bites into itself. I only had backlashes a couple times. So like I was saying before, I will put the video that I use this the most on. I caught like 45 or 50 bass. I'm not exaggerating. You can watch the video. It's proof. It's like a 40-minute video, just so you guys, if you want to sit down and watch a 40-minute movie of me crushing bass on top water, enjoy. That'll be at the end of this one. But as far as this goes, fishing for those, it was doing everything I needed it to. I'm trying to think of the only thing that I could think of that. So the drag, I don't know enough about these drags, but I do know that it's still cranked down, and that's how I was running it. I'm gonna set this down here. I was running it cranked down because the main reason I wanted that setup was to toss these guys. I wanted to toss big frogs for big frog eating bass. The one thing I noticed was if you didn't have it cranked down and you went to really stick the fish at any kind of distance, like anything outside of that might just be rod base also, because I've never had this specific rod either. When I'd go to stick the fish, the drag would slip, and sometimes you wouldn't get a good hook set because of that. And you could feel it, your drag would slip, and you go, oh, well, I don't know if that fish is hooked really good, and then one jump in and the frog's flying through the air. It worked, though. It worked for that once I cranked the drag down. The coolest thing about this that I like, as far as like personal opinion and review, all I had to do was go on YouTube, of course, look it up. I went, how do I throw a frog on my Curado DC 151 XG? It said set it at setting 2 and let it fly. And it did. It literally was that simple. Like, I was just whipping frogs a country mile. Like this, I had this spool full, and I was whipping it way out there. Just, here's the thing. If you think you can take this and just rip it, and I mean just rip a cast after pushing the button and not thumbing it at all, I'm going to break it to you. It does backlash. In the video, like I said, at the end of this, you'll see I had like 1 or 2, maybe 3 of them that day. It was super windy. So the deal is if you really rip it and the wind stops your frog, what you're doing is you're speeding up the spool and then stopping the line, because the wind stops the line and the spool's still trying to kick it out, but there's nowhere for it to go, and then it wraps around itself. That's a backlash 101. You'll learn how to pull them out, but it's not impervious. It's not a never backlash reel. But luckily, when I was younger, I'd fished plenty of bad reels and had backlashes, so I knew how to get them out fairly easy. It's just kind of pull the loops and pull it till it's loose, and hopefully you don't have to cut it all out. But one thing I wanted to say for anybody that's kind of curious, it did work with this lighter braid. Like I said, it seems like, so I had a 4-pound bass on one time. That was kind of cool. I could see that the braid was biting down into itself. So I might, this season, to try it out, I might take that off and throw on, like somebody was saying, to put like 65-pound braid. Mainly because braid is, like, newer braids are a lower diameter than the actual poundage. So like a 65-pound line isn't even actually of the original diameter of what 65 pounds is. So a 65-pound braid isn't that. It's probably like a 20-pound braid thickness. This is a 30-pound braid thickness, and it's like an 8-pound mono equivalent, so it's super small for a baitcaster. Most people that I know that run baitcasters have, like, if they're running mono, they're running like 20 to 30-pound mono, like somewhere in that range. I don't know anybody that runs light line on their baitcasters. So just a heads up, like I said, I'm not an expert. This is all new, but I wanted to do a follow-up review. I'm actually looking at, do I say it? Comment below if you think you know what I'm looking at next after this, because now that I have this one, I'm really, really, really tempted to get a swim bait rod set up, and I would need a bigger reel. And I kind of want another DC. And it starts with M. I'll give you guys that. So if you guys aren't new, it starts with M. If you are new and you know it, just tell me if you know it. We'll sort it out in the comments below. But I'm really thinking about it, but it's a really expensive reel. This I thought was stupid expensive. I would have never paid for it. If she bought it, I was going to get it. She bought it. I got it. Maybe we can convince for the second birthday present or the next present for a party or whatever for the next one. So comment below if you guys know what that is. Like I said, it starts with M, but I'm only saying that much. And then as far as, like, I'm just going to tell you guys real quick. I've never had a tuned up, I have tuned up custom rods. I have a bunch of them. I've never had a bait casting rod from them. And so far, this is my muscle stick. and that's why I like it. It's a muscle stick. I can rip fish up out of weeds, and it can handle some fairly heavy creatures. Looking forward to beating on some stuff. And then as far as the combo is concerned, so like the Curado on my Apex Elite, I was able to throw stuff as light as this. So these are the Kitex, but these are only a 3.8 inch, and they only have, I forgot how. So this isn't, I think it's a super line, right? But it's super light. It's a 1/8 ounce. Sorry, it's a 1/8 ounce Superline swim bait hook, or weighted worm hook, or whatever you want to call it. I like them because they swim these baits perfectly. Like, I can swim them with this, and it's so fun because bass crush them. That's my favorite thing. If you guys are new here, I fish for all species, just so you guys know. If you're not new here, I fish for all species, just so you know. Just because I'm staring at a giant bluegill doesn't mean that's all I fish for. But like I said before, hopefully this wasn't that boring of a review. I will say, if you have the money and you got a baitcaster question and you want to do this, if you have the money, I'll say do it. And that's from limited experience, but honestly, it was so fun. It was so fun to use it, and it was so fun to learn and relearn the thumbing. And you can actually turn the DC off, the electric part to it. It's called DC braking. You can turn that off, so if you wanted to, you can still practice thumbing. And I was doing that for a while too. So okay, so for long review turn short, turn long. I'm sorry, guys. I was just trying to get it across to you guys, and I know some of you were really looking at getting yourselves a baitcaster. So it's like, I'll have Tuned Up Custom link below. I'll have that reel link below if you want to set up your exact same combo. I don't know if it's worse or not. I ended up getting a whole spool of it, but this is the line I use. I'll have that link below. Oh, it's 30 pound, and it's 8 pound mono equivalent. So that's the line I have on it. It's just, there's guys that know way more about baitcasters than I probably will know in the next 5 years. And if they say run 65 pound braid, maybe you guys should give 65 pound braid a try, especially if you're frogging. It doesn't matter. Braid cuts through lily pads, and that way you can get the fish out of the holes that you find them in. So like I said before, hopefully this long video didn't perturb you guys, but like I said, at the end of this one, that's the best one for you guys to watch if you want to see some live action of it. Otherwise, like I said before, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Obviously, if you're not new here, you know what's up. If you are new, could you please just remember to